The alert at Boston's airport after reports of a passenger with a bomb. A peaceful transfer of power in Afghanistan, the first in almost 3 decades. The new leader makes a simple plea.
We basically need, billions of dollars.
And indications of a last-minute buying binge, with markdowns making a difference.
There's lots of bargains out there for consumers, so get out there and shop.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by John Siegenthaler.
Good evening, everyone. A disturbing incident on board an American Airlines jet this afternoon. Officials say a flight attendant discovered a passenger carrying a bomb on the jumbo jet, American Airlines Flight 63, which was en route from Paris to Miami, and suddenly diverted the plane to Boston's Logan Airport. NBC's Dan Abrams is following the story.
As you can see, this is really only moments after this incident happened in the air. There were 185 passengers on board this American Flight 65, 12 crew members. It was initially en route from Paris to Miami, but it was diverted to Boston after a flight attendant saw someone light a match in the air. Here's what someone from the airport had to say today.
We're told the flight attendants became alerted to a smell of sulfur, which is a match, and immediately took action when they saw what this individual was attempting to do, and literally tackled the individual and get into a wrestling match in an attempt to subdue and stop this action. And apparently we're successful in doing that. And other passengers joined in to subdue this individual, and was ultimately strapped and belted into the row 29 of the aircraft, and was sedated by 2 doctors on board 3 different times en route to Boston.
Now, no one was injured, but you see here, this is a flight attendant who was treated for a bite wound on board. The man was actually traveling with a phony British passport, apparently 6'4". So a lot of those flight attendants, as well as the people on board, had a lot of work to do to sedate him. John?
NBC's Dan Abrams. Dan, thank you very much. Now to Afghanistan, where today the new prime minister was sworn in, offering this country ravaged by war new hope. NBC's Chip Reed reports.
In a room of hardened warriors, eyes filled with tears at the sound of Afghanistan's national anthem.
After years of bitter war and conflict, power is being transferred from one administration to another, not under the fire of guns, but peacefully.
The nation's new leader, Hamid Karzai, sworn in during a prayer-filled ceremony. His cabinet of 29 members, a cross-section of Afghanistan's ethnic groups, and 2 women, 1 a deputy prime minister. It will be a long journey, Karzai told his audience, and he said, I am a novice, I need your help. But he will need much more than that. With Afghanistan in ruins after decades of war, Karzai says it will need billions in foreign aid over many years.
There is really no area in which Afghanistan will not require assistance.
Security is also a danger. Heavily armed fighters still roam the streets. An international peacekeeping force of more than 3,000 is expected here soon, but today only a few dozen British Marines were on patrol. In Kabul today, people gathered around televisions, wherever they could find them, to see history being made. This man says, we're very happy to have a new government. Let them bring peace and freedom. But now, Karzai says, there is another risk, high expectations.
If we deliver to the Afghan people what we promised, this will be a great day. If we don't deliver, this will go into oblivion.
Despite the momentous challenges, for the first time in years, the mood here in Afghanistan is one of hope. Chip Reed, NBC News, Kabul.
And just who is this man carrying the burden of hope for peace in Afghanistan? NBC's chief diplomatic correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, on the thoughts and background of Hamid Karzai.
Afghanistan's new interim leader, just days ago in Rome, receiving the political blessing of the country's 87-year-old former king.
I hope all Afghans will see to it that revenge is forgotten, that we become compassionate, that we become kind, but just.
Last weekend in Afghanistan with an even more important patron.
He is anxious to be cooperative with us in every possible way, and he's very pleased and appreciative of everything.
Under pressure from the U.S., Karzai was a compromise choice acceptable to feuding tribal leaders, a role he's been preparing for all his life. 44 years old, he is the fourth of 7 sons of an Afghan politician assassinated while exiled in Pakistan. His younger brother says Hamid never considered joining the rest of the family in the United States.
We encouraged him to come here and make a life for himself, but he refused to do that. He said he wants to stay with his people.
But he has worked closely with the American military and intelligence during the fight against the Taliban. So closely he was slightly injured in a friendly fire incident that killed 3 Americans and several Afghan fighters, only reinforcing his determination to establish order.
We have to create an Afghanistan in which all people live under the rule of law, and that warlordism and gun running must end.
But after 2 decades of war, is he tough enough to control the rival Afghan factions and also withstand attacks from renegade Taliban seeking revenge?
He's got to move fast, he's got to move quickly, strongly, clearly, and if he fluffs this or messes it up, he'll be out. It's like riding the tiger. He's either on the back of the tiger or in his stomach, and Afghan politics is really like that.
Karzai's greatest leverage, money, international aid for reconstruction to give his people a better life. Karzai has welcomed international peacekeepers and promised something Afghanistan has never really experienced, a political process leading to democratic rule. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
While Afghan politics took a clear step forward today, the whereabouts of Osama bin Laden remained unclear. And now there are questions about a U.S. airstrike against al-Qaeda forces on Thursday. NBC's Nora O'Donnell joins us from the Pentagon tonight. Nora?
Good evening, John. There has been a pause in the bombing for nearly a week, except for a convoy struck 2 days ago. Tonight, U.S. officials are confident they killed Taliban leaders, claims disputed by local Afghan villagers.
The damage in an eastern Afghanistan village was visible for the first time today after Thursday's airstrike. A dozen trucks destroyed, nearby buildings flattened, dozens reportedly killed. This villager claims the U.S. made a mistake and hit friendly tribal leaders on their way to Kabul to celebrate the inauguration of the new government. But today, the commanding U.S. general said he's confident it was Taliban leadership on the run.
The indications that I have right now tell me that this was a target that we intended to strike.
Franks claims the convoy launched 2 shoulder-fired surface-to-air weapons at the attack planes overhead. In fact, U.S. military officials tell NBC News U.S. Special Forces have been operating in that area searching for Osama bin Laden. But today, General Franks told NBC News there have been no reported sightings, and he repeated that bin Laden's fate is unknown.
It's possible for bin Laden to still be someplace in Afghanistan. I think it's possible that he can be dead. I think it's possible that he may have moved across into Pakistan.
Today, Pakistan's president, appearing on Chinese TV, echoed the uncertainty about bin Laden.
He's not in Pakistan. That we are reasonably sure, but we can't be 100% sure.
Today, U.S. warplanes prowled the skies, hunting for fleeing enemy forces, but no bombs were dropped. While in Kandahar, hundreds of U.S. Marines are on standby, waiting for their orders to head to the caves of Tora Bora to search for bin Laden.
Tonight, U.S. military officials say they may wait till after Christmas before sending more U.S. Marines to join the hunt for bin Laden. John?
NBC's Nora O'Donnell at the Pentagon. Nora, thank you. Now, America's attempt to recover from the 9/11 terror attacks is the topic tomorrow on NBC's Meet the Press. First Lady Laura Bush and New York Mayor Rudy Giuliani are among Tim Russert's guests. And when NBC Nightly News continues, the last-minute rush at America's shopping malls.
When diet and exercise fail, adding Lipitor can help lower your total cholesterol 29 to 45%. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver disease or possible liver problems, and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of serious side effects. 1 in 5 people has high cholesterol. Millions need treatment. For less cholesterol, ask your doctor if Lipitor is right for you.
If you suffer from heartburn caused by acid reflux, get Gaviscon. Gaviscon tablets become smooth and creamy, forming a soothing protective barrier that helps keep acid down. Gaviscon, relief from acid reflux without a prescription.
Okay, we're ready. Presenting the gift. Surprise!
The Lexus December to Remember sales event.
Oh, the Millers have a new Lexus.
Not the Millers. You.
You'll find special values whether you buy or lease.
It's beautiful.
Well, we got you a new CD player.
The December to Remember sales event. Missing it would definitely spoil the surprise.
I cannot believe this!
See your Lexus dealer.
When your child has a high fever, you head straight for the Children's Motrin. When you're hurting, don't you wish there was a mom's Motrin? There is. Motrin IB. Fast, long-lasting, able to beat tough pain in a single dose. Motrin IB. For moms who don't fool around with pain.
The new Dremel cordless rotary tool with 9.6 volts of power and over 150 available accessories. It's so versatile, you just can't live without it.
After weeks of weak sales this Christmas season, retailers were heartened today by the number of shoppers in search of bargains. Here's NBC's Virginia Cha.
For many 11th hour shoppers, an early Christmas present.
There are sales on already before Christmas, which is quite surprising.
From malls in New Orleans and suburban Minneapolis to stores in New York City, retailers are pulling out all the stops, offering discount upon discount, adding up to as much as 80%. With so many worried about money, the stores are mounting a last-ditch effort.
The fact that unemployment has been rising definitely has, we think, dampened consumer sentiment or their ability to spend.
The good news for retailers, the number of procrastinators is up this year. Heading into this weekend, a retail association survey found that 60% of holiday shoppers had not finished their shopping. 15% had not even started, helping make the Saturday before Christmas now the busiest shopping day of the season.
It wasn't cold enough to go shopping yet, but now that it's cold, I can shop.
The bad news for retailers, even when shoppers buy, slashed prices mean little to no profit. But there are a few bright spots. Discounters like Walmart are doing well, as are goods for consumers looking to stay home.
The at-home trend is big and it's real, whether it's candles, whether it's pajamas, whether it's the video games or consumer electronics.
Even if these last days before Christmas prove to be strong for retailers, no one is expecting they'll make up for an already dismal sales season, expected to be the worst in more than a decade. For retailers, the goal now, just to move the merchandise with sales extending through the end of the year. With hopes the new year will bring a renewed economy. Virginia Cha, NBC News, New York.
Now to the countdown to the Winter Olympics. The flame traveling across the country stopped at the White House today. Here's NBC's John Palmer.
Elizabeth Howell, whose husband Brady died in the terrorist attack on the Pentagon, carried the torch up the White House driveway to the president, who used it to light an Olympic cauldron. Mr. Bush said she was representative of many.
Her participation in the torch relay represents the strength shown by so many families after September the 11th. And Liz, our nation prays with you. During this holiday season, we pray for peace and comfort for you and your family.
The president lit another torch from the cauldron and handed it off to runner Eric Jones, a George Washington University student who on the day of the attacks rushed to the Pentagon to help carry out the wounded and later helped in the search for survivors in the ruins of the World Trade Center. The Olympic torch arrived in Washington yesterday, past the Capitol, the Lincoln Memorial, and through a special honor guard at the Pentagon, carried by Navy Chief Petty Officer Bernard Brown, whose son died there on September 11th. The torch relay, which began earlier this month in Atlanta, will have traveled 13,500 miles before it arrives at the site of the Winter Olympics, Salt Lake City, in February, having been carried by 11,500 people. Many of the torchbearers have been touched personally by the terrorist attacks. In a year that the president said today saw acts of terrible evil, but many more acts of courage, kindness, and love. John Palmer, NBC News at the White House.
The Winter Games begin in just 7 weeks, and as NBC's Dan Lothian reports, all of Utah is getting ready.
The host city for the next Olympics, proudly flying the flag and racing to finish a monumental job. Preparing venues, reviewing security, managing traffic.
It's not going to be smooth. It's going to be an organized zoo.
Downtown Salt Lake City is bracing for some 80,000 people a day. Streets have been blocked. Traffic signals have been adjusted. Detour signs, concrete barriers, and chain-link fences now part of the snow-covered landscape. Temporary buildings have been constructed to provide more space for retailers. Down to the wire, a hurried construction boom.
They're finishing up buildings and starting the new look of the Olympics.
Medical teams are checking supplies and getting prepared for everything from the common cold to a mass catastrophe. And in a year when terrorism altered American life, almost 2,000 National Guard troops have been training to bolster security at the Games. One of them, Michael Christensen, a Salt Lake County prosecutor, about to trade his suit and tie for fatigues, activated for 6 weeks.
It's a unique opportunity, really, for the Guard to be in this type of a capacity in a very interesting time in history for Utah.
The upcoming Winter Games will be the most protected sporting event in history. More than $300 million is being spent to keep athletes, visitors, and the city safe. Utah's Public Safety Commissioner considers it a good investment.
We relied on the very best worldwide to come here, and we say, if you had to do your event over again, what are some of the things that you would do? We've done all that. That's the reason why the enormous price tag.
Years of planning soon to be tested. Crippling congestion just one obstacle. Officials putting athletes, spectators, and journalists on notice. Navigating here during the Games may itself be an Olympic feat. Dan Lothian, NBC News.
And when NBC Nightly News continues, civil liberties and security.
At Bank of America, we really wanted to participate in the Olympic Winter Games. But in the end, we decided to support the real athletes and stick to the things we do best. Like making it easier to pay your bills with America's most popular online bank.
Reading to the kids at the library is the highlight of Fred's week. But some days, his COPD keeps him from being there. Chronic bronchitis or emphysema associated with COPD can keep you from doing simple things.
But now taking Ceravent helps me take fuller breaths.
Nothing can reverse COPD, but taking Ceravent twice a day can help improve your lung function around the clock. Ceravent should not replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms or be taken more than twice a day. Some people may experience increased blood pressure, heart rate, or changes in heart rhythm. Ceravent is a prescription medicine and may not be right for everyone. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure, or take MAOIs or tricyclic antidepressants. Ask your doctor if Ceravent is right for you.
And start taking fuller breaths.
When we're out on prize patrol, people are always asking us, what if the winner isn't home? Well, we find them, even at 36,000 feet. You weren't home. We found you.
Oh, really?
You're a winner in the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
Are you serious?
And we'll find our next winner and surprise him with $10 million live on TV Super Bowl Sunday.
I really did not think it happened. You made me like a total believer.
Watch your mail for the Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes or go to PCH.com and enter.
Why do I like holiday shopping at Office Depot for my friends and family? Because they have a shipping center right in the store. So I can choose any of their great gifts, wrap and pack them, and Office Depot sends them anywhere in the world. That means I can get just the right thing for everyone on my list.
It's empty.
Office Depot, proud sponsor of the 2002 U.S. Olympic team.
In focus this evening, dissent over dissent in this country when tactics in the war on terror are questioned. NBC's Shelley Smith has our story.
Honored guests, faculty.
In Arco Arena, where the NBA plays in Sacramento, a newspaper publisher tried to deliver a commencement address to the graduates of Cal State University last week.
Perhaps the most troubling is the establishment of a secret military tribunal that would be used to try accused terrorists.
Within minutes, the crowd booed Janice Bessler-Heafy, publisher of the Sacramento Bee, off the stage when she called for the protection of civil liberties in the government's response to the terror attacks.
I was disgusted by what she had to say in her speech. This was our day, our commencement, and you want something motivational. You want something to look forward to when you're moving into your career.
I think anyone who was in that situation would agree that that was not an appropriate speech.
Academic observers say what's most disturbing about Heafy's reception in Sacramento is the growing intolerance for public discussions or ideas that question the nation's response to terrorism. And this time the censorship came from the public.
Obviously, any event like this is disappointing to a faculty member or university president because it's the opposite of what we stand for.
But in America, since September 11th, constitutional and privacy rights can no longer be taken for granted. In Evansville, Indiana, a group of Middle Eastern immigrants were held for a week as terror suspects, then released with apologies from the U.S. government. Information once routinely posted on the internet has been pulled off voluntarily, as patriotic fervor caused Americans to rally round the flag in the days just after the terror attacks. It also produced a backlash against the anti-war movement. Protesters, though few in number, were poorly received, even in liberal Berkeley.
The policies conducted and the way that the military strategy is being organized are not about actually helping the people of Afghanistan.
This is not Vietnam. This was not a criminal act that was done to our country in New York. That was an act of war.
An emotional time in America. Concern about a collision between security needs and civil liberties. Shelley Smith, NBC News, Los Angeles.
And when Nightly News continues in a moment, a pair of Americans providing aid and comfort to the refugees of Afghanistan.
Tens of thousands of people continue to purchase new Oldsmobiles. Is it because of our special interest-free financing? Or our 5-year, 60,000-mile GM protection plan? Or did they simply take a test drive? Are you in the market? Get in an Oldsmobile and keep America rolling. Oldsmobile, backed by GM.
Winter air makes it worse. So can blow drying. That's scalp stress itch. And Scalpicin stops it. Clean, unscented, medicated to stop scalp stress itch.
Every time.
Scalpicin stops scalp stress itch.
The American Stock Exchange. Opportunity made fresh daily.
If you've had a heart attack or a stroke, the last thing you need is another one sneaking up on you. After all, you've got better things to do. I know. In my case, I had a stroke. That's why I talked to my doctor about Plavix. He told me Plavix is a prescription pill that can help protect you from a heart attack or stroke if you've recently had one, or if you have poor circulation in the legs causing pain.
Plavix is proven to help keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots, which helps keep your blood flowing. This can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke. If you have a medical condition that is causing bleeding, such as a stomach ulcer, you should not use Plavix. Side effects include itching, rash, diarrhea, and bruising. Additional rare but serious side effects could occur. Ask your doctor.
Taking Plavix once a day helps protect me.
Find out if Plavix can help protect you from another heart attack or stroke.
Sunday, a special edition of Meet the Press. First Lady Laura Bush, America's Mayor Rudy Giuliani, and Cardinal McCarrick on the nation's recovery. If it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press.
The worst roads in America. NBC Nightly News Wednesday.
Finally tonight, the unusual story of a pair of Knights of Malta on a mission of mercy to help the refugees in Afghanistan. NBC's Jim Macedo reports.
He calls it a gift from God, a sack of flour. It's not much, but for Abdul Mumin and his family, it's the difference between life and death. They are among some 1,500 Afghan refugees facing winter in this dusty strip with almost no food or protection from the elements. Hunger and disease have already killed dozens of refugees here, including children, among them one of Abdul Mumin's sons. I looked for food for 10 days and found none, he says. One of my sons just starved to death.
That ain't going to happen on our watch, right, Jim?
But a small group of American aid workers stumbled on the camp.
Teshakor, America, good?
Ed Artist is a former medic from Los Angeles, and Jim Laws, a cardiologist back in Dayton. When they saw this, they knew they'd found their latest mission.
We're just putting a Band-Aid on hemorrhage. But somebody's got to start with a Band-Aid.
Sir Edward and Sir James are in fact Knights of Malta, a chivalrous order of Christian crusaders in days of old, but today they say they're just plain do-gooders, bringing help to the needy and now Muslims in Afghanistan.
We're ambassadors at large for the good parts about America.
Finding private donors on the internet, they've scraped together $100,000, much of it from their own pockets. Delivering 4 truckloads of food, blankets, and tents. In all, some 60 tons of food should get these people through the winter, but the Americans, who are all Vietnam War vets, say they have no illusions about how long this war on terror will last, and that these people will need help for years. Why do they do it?
It's a kick in the head, man. I love it.
But what we can do is feed a few of these kids. This right here, that's who we work for.
Abdul Mumin, who had never even seen an American, is grateful to them. His new tent is warm and strong. Now he says he may never have to bury yet another child. Jim Macedo, NBC News, Northern Afghanistan.
And updating our top story tonight, an American Airlines jumbo jet en route from Paris to Miami was diverted to Boston after a passenger apparently tried to ignite some sort of explosive device in his shoe. A flight attendant and other passengers subdued the man. She approached him because she smelled sulfur. The suspect also reportedly carried a newly issued British passport, which appeared to be a forgery. The investigation is continuing, but all who were aboard the flight, American Airlines Flight 63, are safe. And that is NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Thanks for watching. I'm John Siegenthaler in New York, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow night.
NBC News, America's news leader.
Across Middle